Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bree. Today's reading vlog, we're gonna do a bit of a challenge reading vlog. So it is the month of December and the month is wrapping up, and so I want to get in as many books as I can because I also would like to take the last week of December off because I like to have a lot of content go out and have my favorite books of the year and stuff like that go out, and I don't want to be reading new ones and then worrying that those are going to be on the list and I will have missed them. So I want to read as much as possible now just because there's, the end of the year rush. I just have a lot of books that I was hoping to get to this year, so just trying to fit those in where I can. So the challenge we're going to do is I looked up and I average about 100 pages a day with my reading, and that can fluctuate here or there, but I do like to listen to audiobooks at work, and so I do tend to get through quite a bit. I'm thinking I want to push myself to try to read 150 pages a day for a week. And I have two books that I'm currently in the middle of that I'm going to try to get through, and then I will show you some books I have as like hopefuls, but because I'm a mood reader, I don't want to stick to a TBR, promise any kind of TBR at this point. So this week, as I'm recording this, it is Read Palestine week, and so I have started this and I am about halfway through at this point, and that is Against the Loveless World by Susan Abulhawa. This is a story about a woman who lived in Kuwait and then was displaced there and then goes to Jordan and then eventually goes back to Palestine. So there's lots of different hopping around and a different timeline, and it's just about this woman's journey, and now at the beginning of the book she is in prison and she's going back and telling her life story. So I'm reading this. I still have about 150 pages, maybe more than that, left, so this will probably be the first one I will try to do to get my 150 pages in. So I also read this on audiobook at work today, so I'm on page 75 and I started on page 37, so I've read 38 pages so far for today's goal, and that is Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel, and this is in Hindu retelling of there's a noble prince Rama, and he ends up defeating the dragon, I want to say, demon king Ravana, and that's an old Hindu tale, and this is following Rama's mother, Kaikeyi, and how she came to be and like her role in everything. And right now it's just her backstory of during her childhood, and she's about 16 at the point I'm at, and so I think it's just a look at women's roles in this mythology that a lot of women's tales haven't been told, and I've heard such good things about this book. I know that Janani from This Story Ain't Over has really recommended this book highly, and it's one of her favorite books, and I've also seen a lot of other people read it, and it's been one that I've been wanting to try for a while. I'm so glad I started it so far. I'm really loving the audiobook. It's narrated by a narrator that I think is the same one that narrated the Bangalore Detectives Club, and I really liked that, so I am happy to be reading this and enjoying it very thoroughly. So that'll be my read for at work, so I probably won't read this at home too much, but I will let you know how I'm feeling about it. And then I'm going to read this. Now I will finish those before the week is up if I'm doing 150 pages. I should have done the math on how many books I'm gonna have to read, but I didn't want to because of the mood reading. So here are some books that I'm interested in getting to at this moment in time. So you may see them in this vlog, you may not, but here we go. So for starters, I very recently finished the first one, Dread Nation, and this is Deathless Divide. So it's a duology, so I'd really like to finish it and see how it ends because I really did like the cliffhanger and like the whole entire story, and I'm really interested to see how it continues. So I probably will pick this up, hopefully. While it's fresh on the mind, I think it's really nice to finish, the series off. Then I have The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno Garcia because I've been itching to pick up another of her books. I am hesitant to pick this one up, honestly, because I'm having a hard time choosing my top 10, and I'm worried that this is going to be a top 10 contender because I've really liked her books that are historical and stuff like that. So this might have to wait until the new year because I can't have the whole favorites being Silvia Moreno Garcia. I mean, I could, but, I gotta let some people have a chance. And then I just put a cozy into the mix because I have been reading a little bit darker of things, so I thought maybe I would be in the mood for something cozier. So I have Miss Percy's Pocket Guide to the Care and Feeding of British Dragons by Quinby Olson. This one I've just really wanted to pick up, so I'm excited to get to this one, though I've been hesitant on some cozy fantasies because I've been picking up some and they haven't been the best of wins for me, so I'm not really sure what I'm needing at this moment. But this one I just think sounds really cute and really up my alley, so hopefully I like that one. And then I also recently picked up The Changeling by Victor LaValle because I read Little Woman and really loved it. At the time, I think I gave it only like 4 to 4.5 stars, but it's one of those books that's really stuck with me, and I think it's really a 5-star because I just was coming off the high of Slewfoot, which is like a 6-star book, and I think it's a 5-star because I can't stop thinking about that book. So I picked up The Changeling because I want to know what else he's written, and this is probably one I will get to if I'm in the horror mood. So I've got quite a few different moods here, and then the actual TBR at the moment. So yeah, so let's just get right into it. I will read a little bit and check in when I've got to my 150 page mark. I still have another 50 pages to read for today, but I did want to give you an update because I'm losing daylight here. But I am now at the page, almost page 200, and I've gotten to another portion. It's broken up into 5 portions, and so I don't have too much left of this book. I am just like having a hard time coming up with what to say because I feel like there's so much to say about this. This is very much a heartbreaking story. It's got a lot of triggers in it, and it's just this woman's journey in a world that she just is constantly displaced, constantly having to move from home to home and finding where her home is and feeling this kinship with Palestine, but also like this distance from it, and also going back and having so many restrictions and things, and then when she's in other countries still being an outsider and just never feeling like there's a place that's her own, and also being a woman in this society, and she has a lot of very hard things that she has to go through that are just like struggles of women in general, and is stories that are very hard to hear. And so I feel like I am really impacted by the story. It's hard to say I'm enjoying it because it's a very hard topic, but I do think it's a very powerful story and a good story, and I think in terms of like writing and stuff, the pacing is really good. I think the way it's broken up into these sections, it all connects very easily, and the sections, they make sense where each one stops and you just get different portions of her life. I also really think it's powerful to get the interactions at kind of the beginning of each chapter break. Well, I guess I'm saying chapter break, but more the parts. You get you're back in her cell, and she gives you a little more like information about what's happening in her cell, and then you go back to like her story in the past. And I think those two things, those timelines, are working really well together. I don't feel like there's too much time spent in the cell and not enough in the past to see how she's gotten up to it, but it also just makes you understand like the situation she's in presently even more. I think it's a really good one if you want to read from a Palestinian author. Again, there are trigger warnings in here. It's not a light fluffy read, but it's one I would recommend, and I'm really happy I've picked it up and I'm learning a bit more and reading from Palestinian authors during this week. Yes, I'm going to finish the 150 pages today. So once I get to that, I'm only going to have about 100 pages more. So tomorrow I'll probably finish it, and then that'll be right on time for Read Palestine Week because I think it ends on Wednesday. So yeah, that's my update. I'm going to probably see you tomorrow since I'm losing daylight here, and we'll check back in for the next 150 pages I'm going to have to read. Well, this is as good as the lighting's gonna get today. It's been overcast for like a week straight and I'm a bit over it. I wanted to check in, so it's now, what's today? Wednesday. Last I checked in was Monday. And I did read my 150 pages yesterday. It just was very gloomy and I wasn't feeling well, so I just decided to forgo the filming on that day. Now, I want to talk to you about what I've been reading and give you updates on that, but then I also want to talk to you about some books I got because I did go to the store and I bought some books. I'm just now realizing you can see our pile of clean clothes there that we have yet to put away. Please, don't judge me. It's been a rough week, okay? So I've gotten to page 303 and I started on 169 today, so I have about 20 more pages to go till I reach my 150 goal. So I will be continuing Against the Loveless World. Against the Loveless World. I always say a Loveless World. Against the Loveless World today. I'll probably end up making a good portion of the way through this. I probably won't stop at the 20-ish pages I need to read. So let me give you thoughts on Khalidi because I am gonna probably finish it tomorrow listening to it on audiobook, and let me tell you, I'm loving it. I really like this slow story just about this woman coming into motherhood and adulthood and just what it means to be a woman in this time period and society. And also she has to deal with a lot by going to a completely different land and trying to fit in and just figure out life. And her, as you know from the very beginning, her mom leaves like right away when she's about 12. And so she's really just trying to navigate a world as a woman without really having a mother there. She has a, like, I don't know if you call them a handmaiden, but she takes care of her as if she's her mother, but still, like, that loss of your mother and what it means to be a queen and that kind of role she has to take on. I think all of that is so interesting. The discussion about womanhood in here, I'm really enjoying, and we are getting to a very big part of the tension of the book. So it took a long time to really reach any like tension. So it's not a plot heavy book. It's definitely a character driven story and I'm eating it up. I really love learning about Khalidi and her life and seeing where the plot is going. I'm very worried for her, and you're getting glimpses throughout the book of like she'll foreshadow to what's to come, but you don't know the full extent, and we're just starting to see the full extent of what might happen, and I'm worried for her, and I'm very much enjoying the story, and I highly recommend it. I think this is a great one. Yeah, I'm happy I picked it up and tried it out because I wasn't sure if it was going to be for me, and I've found a theme this year of books that I'm not sure are going to be for me end up completely being my thing. So I don't know what that says about me and my reading taste, because sometimes I'm spot on, but apparently sometimes I'm not. So then I've got Against the Loveless World by Susan Abulhawa, and I am like 100 pages from the end, and I really think that this is also just such a good story about a woman just like slowly being radicalized, and also just the things that the world has thrown at her and how she has to handle them. It's a very moving story and a very hard story to read, but I am very glad I picked this up, and I'm also enjoying this from a narrative perspective. I would say the hardships in here are hard to read, but I think it's given me a lot to think about and has been well crafted so far. And then last night I only had about 50 pages to read, and I didn't want to finish this last night. I wanted to continue it on to today. So it was also really dark out, and so I decided to read on my Kobo because it was easier to read on there. So I picked up Tread of Angels by Rebecca Roanhorse, and I really didn't know much about this going into it because I just knew that Rebecca Roanhorse has been really recommended for fantasy, but I didn't want to start with Black Sun because I'm a little intimidated by it. So I decided to start with Tread of Angels because it's a novella, and so far I'm really liking it. It says I'm 17% in. I got to 47 pages in the ebook, which is like right what I needed to read. I'm really enjoying it. It's basically about this girl who is working like a card table, and she is there, and then her sister is like also there, but you don't see her sister. She's like asleep in this room, and you're meeting two other people who work at this like bar situation, and you're just getting to know the main character a little bit, and then these guards come and take her sister away, and you know that there's like two factions, if you will, like two races. So there's elect and forget the other one, but the other half is kind of looked down upon for their race and are restricted in a lot of things. And so our main character is passing for the elect, so she's half elect and half the other one, I can't remember, but she passes for elect a lot, and her sister does not pass, and these people are usually like taken and killed and like not really tried fairly for things. And so her sister's been taken for killing someone, yet we don't really know like if she did or didn't or what's going on. And so I have a feeling her sister is going to try to figure out the mystery and like get her sister out, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't have much to say because I still feel like I'm getting my foot in the world, but I am enjoying the writing so far, and so far the main character is a compelling character to follow, and I'm interested to see more of like her and her sister's dynamic. Yeah, and also just like what it means to be a person in this society who can pass for like the elect race. And yeah, just I'm interested to see how she's going to navigate everything. So those are my updates on books, and I'm going to finish my 25 pages, and so I'll probably check in tomorrow about that progress. But I'm going to give you a call that I have here. So I'd gone over the weekend and gotten some, and then I also went to Half Price today and got more. So what did I get? You may be wondering. The first is The Changeling by Victor LaValle. This is another horror by Victor LaValle, and I really, really loved Lone Woman, and I really want to get that one as well, but I picked this one up because I'm very interested in it. It's about a boy whose like father disappears when he's young out of the blue, and I think some stuff's gonna start unraveling with what happened to his dad. I really don't know too much, but something about dreams, and he has this dream of his dad, and I think it's gonna lead him to it. I just really liked Victor LaValle's Lone Woman, and I've heard only good things about his other books, so I'm very interested to try it. I think this one's going to be a for me kind of book. Then my husband picked this one out for me, and he read the back and showed me it, and I really thought it was a good one. So I picked it up, and that's She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is set in the Ming Dynasty, yes, and I've heard from people it's like Milan meets something else, and I can't remember what it is, but they got me at Milan. So I'm very excited to get to this. It's a historical period in time that I haven't delved into a lot with fantasy, especially, and so I really am happy to have a historical fantasy on my shelf that is from another type of time period. So I can't wait to read this. He really picked out a good one for me, so I can't believe I hadn't heard of this. I now realize that a lot of people have shown this on their feeds, in their videos, and have raved about this series, but I never really realized that it was historical fantasy, so I am interested to try it. I don't know how much a war story is gonna go for me, but it had me at historical fantasy in Milan, so I'm interested to give it a shot. And then we have one that I've been wanting to read and pick up for a long time, but I never could justify the price because it's this tiny little hardback. But I found it at Half Price for a really good price, and that is An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good by Helen Thurston. And this is just a little short story about this woman who's an older woman, and I think she's just murdering people. And it's like a mystery, but not really, because you know it's her, and it's just like her little story of this 88-year-old woman who's had enough of people and going around offing them. So I've just heard good things, so I've been really wanting to try it, and I'm excited to have it now. Glad I found it at half price. And then this one was a cover buy, but again, I think it's one that I'm going to enjoy, and that's The Daughters of Azidhar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. By Adhir Elspy. And it said in here, and this was got me, it says it's a duology, which I like when a series is short, and it's inspired by modern Egyptian history about two young women, a spoiled aristocrat used to getting what she wants, and a poor bookshop worker who used to have nothing, and they find they have far more in common, particularly their struggle for the rights of women and their ability to fight with forbidden elemental magic. So I like a story about women coming together to, you know, defeat the patriarchy, and also the modern Egyptian history is what really sold me. So I am excited to give this a try. I've seen this around as well. It's a debut. It also was blurbed by Shannon and Chakraborty and P. Jelly Clark. I think that was the only two that I saw that I was like, I like both of their stuff now that I've read them. So I feel like I could like this. And there's other people on the back that maybe if I like this one, I should try them. So there you go. That's my little book haul. I'm going to continue reading, and I will see you tomorrow.
I'd looked after 10 years of sleeplessness. After 10 years of dreams. All the same.
Well, it is now Thursday, and I just finished Kaikei. I read about 145 pages, and then I got home and I just needed to know what was going to happen because there was only like 50 more pages left. So I finished it. So I definitely completed the 150 pages today, but I do feel like I still want to read, and I would really love to finish Against the Loveless World today. But first, let's talk about Kaikei. So I wanted to explain a little bit more about this than what I did in the beginning, because I definitely understand the story a lot more now. So this is from the text, the Ramayana, which is full of Hindu stories about gods and heroes. And this is the story of Kaikei, who in the story of Ram is the jealous stepmother who exiles him for 10 years. And during that time, he goes on quests and saves the world and becomes this like beloved king. But in the original, you don't get a lot of Kaikei's story, why she actually banished him. And I think in some of the originals, it's that her maid like convinced her to. And so this just gives a ton of backstory into why she did what she did. And a lot of it is interpretation by Vishnani Patel, but it's also, she said she has sources in the beginning where she says, there's a whole author's note in the beginning where she details kind of like where she takes some liberties and stuff. It's a retelling of that, and oh my gosh, I love this so much. I feel like it was a slower paced character story, and not a ton happens for like a good 80% of the book. Is a lot of just like relations, family relations, how all this tension is building, and then the last 20% is really where a lot of the tension and I guess conflict starts and resolves. But it didn't feel like it wasn't paced well to me. I think that that building of Kaikei's life and the tension, slow build through different relationships with people and stuff is very important. And yeah, I felt so many emotions while reading this. So I think that just Kaikei as a character really makes you understand the decisions she made, and it's not that every decision was a perfect decision, but you really see how she was guided in her decision making and how things worked out the way they did. And yeah, it was just really, really good. I definitely would recommend it, and I am really happy I read this. I think it was a wonderful book, and I want to say 5 stars for me. I know I feel like I give out 5 stars like candy, but truly, like, I just find books that are really good. So I just really enjoyed this. I think Vaishnavi Patel is coming out with another book soon. I think it's another retelling. Let me look up. Okay, so there is a book called Goddess of the River that's coming out in May of 2024, and it's a reimagining of the story of Ganga, goddess of the river, and her doomed mortal son. So, another mother and son type story. I'm definitely going to read that. I have a win. I'm so happy about this. I have been hesitant to read any kind of like retellings of myths because I don't know, I like to learn about some of the myths. I did learn in school and stuff and took a class, but it was never something that has been my like go-to thing. I haven't tried retellings a lot of myths specifically. I like retellings, so I don't know why I haven't dove into the mythology realm, but this really was great, and I have a couple more that I would like to try out on my shelf. So that is a win. So I don't technically have to read any more today, but I do think I'm going to try to read more of this because the weather is really nice and it's still sunny out, so I want to read this before it gets dark. So hopefully I will finish this today and let you know, and then I have only a couple more days of the challenge left. So we will see, and I will check back in with you later. Hello, welcome back. Well, I don't know why I'm saying welcome back because you've been seeing this in chronological order, but for me it's been 2 days. I checked in on Thursday and it's Saturday now. Thursday night I actually got really sick and stayed home from work on Friday and literally was just in my bed all day. Couldn't get out. So I did do my reading of 150 pages, so I'll update you on that, but I just wasn't able to check in. So I finished that book and I'm ready to start a new one. I just didn't start it yet. So I read over 150 pages yesterday, but I finished the rest of Tread of Angels. I keep saying Thread of Angels. It's Tread of Angels by Rebecca Roanhorse. And this is a short little novella, and I don't know how really to describe it. There's like angels and demons, and then there's the fallen, which I think are supposed to have like demon blood, and the elect are supposed to be like more with angel blood, and that's why like the elect run everything and why the fallen are like discriminated against. But I will say I didn't fully understand how that worked. I feel like the world itself, I wish it had a little more fleshed out so I could understand it more, because even at the end I don't think I fully understand the world we were in. The mystery, like with what's going on with her sister, I liked how it wrapped up, but at the same time I kind of think it would have been better to see like more of the relationship between Celeste and Muriel, because it is a lot about their sister bond, but I think we're just relying on the fact that the main narrator, Celeste, is so attached to her sister. We don't really get to see why, or like, obviously, like, you know, sister bonds are important and family bonds are strong, but it would have been great to see a little more of that bond and like how it's so strong instead of just being told that it is. And so I think it could have benefited from actually more pages. And I think that sometimes that's what's hard with a novella, is that you don't always get full character arcs or full understanding of character relations. But overall, I thought it was an enjoyable read, and I would read more in the world if there was more. But overall, I think it's one of those novellas that I probably won't think about too often after this. I think one that it reminded me of was the one I read by C.L. Polk, Even Though I Knew the End, and that one I think really stuck with me, and I enjoyed it even more. So I think I would recommend that one over this one, but I still think this one's good, and if you were kind of looking for like a comp title, maybe try this one out. I do want to try Black Sun because I do think Rebecca Roanhorse's writing is good. I really liked the way she writes the world, and the like, you kind of fall right into the setting, though I just think with a full-length novel she would be better able to world build and give us that character dynamics a bit more. So I think I am more excited to try out Black Sun because of this. So yeah, finished that. Now I'm trying to decide if I want to read Blacktop Wasteland or Before Your Memory Fades, because I am going to end this tomorrow. So if I read 150 pages today and 150 pages tomorrow, I will read 300, and this is just about 300 pages. This is just over 300 as well, 315. So I kind of think I want to read this one because I've just not been in my thriller mood lately, but I do really want to get to this one. But I just feel like having something that I can just like read a story, put down, take a break, come back, read another story. I had started this a while ago. I got to page 40 then, and I probably will just restart because I don't remember too much from it. I think I just want something like short story-ish, and I always like these, and the newest one came out, so I would like to get to this so that I could get to that one, and I want to make more series progress. So I kind of think I should do this one so that I can catch more up on series before the end of the year, and then maybe I'll read this like later this week in the next vlog. You see, I don't know, but I think I'm gonna go with this one. So this one, if you don't know, is about a coffee shop where people can time travel, and they go in and they have tea. Nope, they have coffee and they have to come back before the coffee gets cold, and they're all these little short stories. So there's multiple cafes. This one is in a different cafe than the one in the first two. So we just follow different short stories of different people's stories, and they kind of all have the same message, like not the same message, but like the same kind of messages repeated. So like there's just different people's bonds, and I feel like some of the stuff being on the third one, themes are being repeated, but I still really enjoy it, and I still have a good time with them, and I just think they work for me. I think some people will get bored after the first one, which is why I always recommend the first one, because I think it is so far been the strongest. But as someone who likes to just kind of be back in worlds that make me feel comforted, this is one that I continue to enjoy, but I don't know if everyone will continue to enjoy. I'm gonna sit here and read, do some reading sprints probably for a little bit, and then I also need to run out and go get some gifts for family members before, because we're celebrating with my family soon, and then we're celebrating with Noah's family on Christmas, so I need to get everything done soon. I just want to have it all together, you know? So those are the thoughts I am having. Those are the things I am doing, and I will check back in with you when I have more to update. Hi, it's Sunday now. I have some reading updates for you. We're gonna go ice skating and do that, and then we're gonna come back, I'm gonna finish reading, and we're gonna wrap up the video. But I have some things to talk to you about. First of all, last night I was supposed to read to page 150, and I got to page 124, so I'm about 25 pages shy of what I need to. So today I'm just gonna finish up the rest of this. But I realized that I started editing the video this morning, and I realized I never updated after I finished this on Thursday. So I did finish Against the Loveless World, and my thoughts are similar to how I viewed them in the beginning. It's a very impactful book. It's got a lot to say. I really liked the turn it took in the later half of the book, because the beginning half is very bleak, and there's a lot of like hardships she's going through. And while she's still going through a lot of hardships in the later half of the book, we start to see like a found family kind of form, and it is just a really good friendship, and the just ways she starts to connect with people in Palestine, I really appreciated that, and I think that that added so much to the book other than just making it a bleak book. And I understand why there are bleak books out there and why that conversation is important and stuff, to show people's hardships, but I also think showing some of the light in times of the bad is also really good, and it's something I really appreciate when books do. So I think this balanced it really well, and I think the way it ended really left off with some hope, and I really appreciated that. So overall, this was just a really good, fantastic book, not only to learn a bit more about Palestine and what people of Palestine go through a fiction lens, just understanding and having empathy for the situation they've been in. I think the story builds that really well and can give you some of perspective on what people have had to go through. Sorry, I have hair in my mouth. But also, I think that just from a narrative literary fiction standpoint, this was a really good book, and one that I think I will think about for a while in terms of favorite literary fictions, because I think it just was really, really good. So that is my final thoughts on that. I just wanted to wrap that up. And then before your memory fades, I started the second story, but I'm not to the point where the person goes back in time. I'm just kind of getting the backstory. And I will say, I know people have had criticisms about this being repetitive, because every time you get another short story, they kind of explain the rules over and over again. And I will say I do find that repetitive, but I kind of just like roll with it and read through it. And sometimes I like skim a little bit when they're telling the rules. But to me, I just think that the story's so comforting, and you feel like cozy in this cafe, and it feels warm to be back with a lot of the same characters. So in that case, I like it, but I can see people's criticism of it. It does get a bit repetitive, and I wish it didn't. But I also feel like you could read some of these out of order. Not every story connects, so, you know, there's opportunities to read it out of order, so I guess someone could be reading it and not know the rules. But either way, I liked it. The first one was called Daughter, and it dealt with some like suicidal thinking, and I thought that that was interesting to see. And I just think the story, the way it connected to everything, and the characters it brings in, I thought it was good. It wasn't my favorite out of all of them. I still think the stories in the first ones have connected with me the most. The next one that I'm reading is The Comedian, which does kind of tie into people we see in the first story. And so far, I don't really have any thoughts of it, but I'm only 20 pages into that one, so I'm still getting to know that character specifically. And then the last two is called The Sister and the Young Man. So we'll see how I think of these. But yeah, that's my update on this. I will probably take you along a little bit while we go ice skating, though it is a date for my husband and I, so I'm not going to film a ton, but I do want to take you with me. And there's a Christmas market that is there. It's like a German Christmas market, so we're going to go to that because my coworker talked about it, and every year I say I'm going to go and then we don't go. And he was talking about how he took his girlfriend there, and then he mentioned pretzels, and I was like, oh no, and I have to go because I want a pretzel so bad. Ever since I got a pretzel at Newfields for my birthday, I've just been wanting pretzels so bad. So hopefully I can get it without butter. We will see. I will be very disappointed if I come back here and I could not have a pretzel. But we're going to do that, and then I keep saying I'm going to decorate for Christmas, and then we don't. So you probably won't see me decorate for Christmas in this vlog. You'll probably see it in the next vlog, because I've got to finish this, finish my reading, and then edit it and get it out. But hopefully in the next vlog, you're seeing me decorate for Christmas. Because I need to, and I want to. So there we go. There we have it. I will see you in a little bit. You will see me on the ice rink just making a fool of myself because I can't ice skate. Okay, well, we're back from ice skating. I read the rest of this and finished this up, so I want to give final thoughts. I think this one is much in the same vein as the other ones. This one specifically deals a lot with grief and like not losing hope and continuing your life after loss. And I think it was really great. It didn't quite hit me the same way that the other ones have, but I still think it was good. And I also think there was a part in here where someone is throughout the whole story like asking these questions from this book of like 100 questions, and a lot of the questions are like, if the world was ending, would you do this or this? And it's about like taking action or not taking action. And I kind of feel like that was a running theme throughout the book of like, should you say what you want to say or should you keep it to yourself? And so yeah, I like the message in this. I like the stories. I think my favorite was probably, let's see, I think my favorite was probably the daughter. It just felt the most impactful to me, but I did enjoy them all. So yeah, happy I read that. So that is 4 books down for this little challenge, 3 here, 1 on ebook. And I think favorite probably goes to Kai Ke. This one was just so good. So I think it would go Kai Ke, Against the Loveless World, and then Tread of Angels and Before Your Memory Fades, I think are tied. So there you go. There's all the books I read plus 1 ebook, and I just had a fun time with this little challenge trying to get in more reads before the end of the year. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.